Hello everyone, my name is Pepsilk, and in today's video I'm going to be doing a first impressions on the new co-op horror craze that has been going around on Twitch that I've seen crazy viewer counts on, and that's Phasmophobia. Now, Phasmophobia is a game that I came across from a friend that told me that it was a game that he wanted to play for a horror stream because his chat had been telling him that I've been like contributing points to this community challenge where he's got to do a horror stream and play a horror game. And I was asking him what game he was going to play, and he said Phasmophobia, and I was like, what the hell is Phasmophobia? So I looked it up on Steam, and I found it was like a co-op ghost hunting game where basically you play as ghost hunters like from the movies and stuff. So that's how I first got a hold of it. Came out roughly, it was a week after it came out that I ended up buying it, and holy shit, I didn't regret any money I've spent on it at all. It was a really, it's a really good game. By good, I mean quite possibly the best horror game I've played in years, and I've played heaps of good horror games from the Outlaw series, Alien Isolation, Amnesia. What other good games are there? Oh, and the Penumbra series. I've already played the first Penumbra. That was a very long time ago, but personally, the Penumbra games are really underrated, and if you haven't played them, I highly recommend you play them because they're really fun games. If you're looking for a classic old school horror experience. Oh, and also the Resident Evil games. But Phasmophobia, from a cooperative perspective and the way that the gameplay works, it's really fun. And I want to try and talk about it as much as I can, give you some details as to what the game has to offer on its early access release, and things that I think the game needs to thrive in the future. So let's get right into it. So just to reiterate myself, the game is essentially a 4-player cooperative horror game where you play as ghost hunters, and you go to several different locations. You go to a location, you set up equipment to try and find the ghost. That's essentially every game. You find the ghost, you find 3 pieces of evidence to prove what kind of ghost you may be hunting, and then you get the hell out. You get out of the truck, you press the little code pad, and you escape, right? Not really escape, it's more so just getting out because you figured out what the ghost is. I think the best part of this gameplay loop definitely comes from the way you go in, either something happens immediately or it's very quiet, and you have to like play a bit of a waiting game and just set up in the event that he or she will do something really crazy. And yeah, city of the gameplay loop. What makes the gameplay loop more complicated is the items that you can bring in. So there's an EMF reader that can detect ghosts by noise from like a green dot to a red dot of 5. There's a thermometer that can help you detect the ghost room by temperature. So the colder it is, the better chances you have of the bigger chance of the ghost being in that room or patrolling that area. There's the ghost writing book that can help you gather a piece of evidence where if a ghost writes, that counts as evidence. There's a spirit box that you can use. Oh, speaking of the spirit box, now that I'm mentioning it, the spirit box can help you communicate with ghosts. Another cool thing about this game is that there's voice recognition. So no matter if you're on, like, you don't have to use this. There's an in-game with push to talk how you can use like walkie-talkies and proximity chat. But no matter what you do, the ghost can always hear what you're saying. So if you say something really stupid, he or she may end up coming after you straight away, or you get into some kind of ghost event or scenario. But you can use the spirit box to ask the ghost questions, and the ghost can respond to you, which is really cool. I've never seen a game where voice recognition plays such a big importance, and it works really good for the most part on this specifically. Like, it's just, I didn't expect it to be so polished. Like, the developer has pretty much just got the voice recognition off the rip, got it all to work with or without a spirit box, and it's just great. Some other items include a UV light that can help you detect fingerprints and footprints. There's cameras, like video cameras and tripods you can set up around the house to give you surveillance for whoever's in the van. And it can help you identify these like cool little like ghost orbs, so you can kind of see where the ghost is patrolling, and helps you gather evidence as well. Last thing I'll mention is there's sensors. So there's like a sound sensor that can help you detect more noise, an infrared light sensor that lights up when the ghost walks past, and there's also a motion sensor that detects movement. And you can place them all around the map, and whoever's at the van or the van guy, whoever's that person, can see what's going on, and you can monitor everybody's progress. So yeah, that's just a glimpse of some of the items. There's more items, but I won't bother explaining through all of them. All you need to know is that there's a lot of depth, and it's awesome. Now, from maps, there's 7 different locations. You can choose from 3 different street houses, 2 farmhouses, an asylum, and a high school. Now, when you go into the matchmaking and you pick a contract, the jobs are always randomly generated, so you won't get the same jobs. You get to pick from 3 to 5 different jobs, essentially. And each map has its own experience. It starts from very, very small, like a small house. And as you progress through the maps, it gets bigger and bigger to the asylum, which is the largest map. Now, I'm yet to actually even play the asylum because you need 4 people to play it, first of all. And second of all, whenever I'm on the freaking game, it's always me and 2 buddies because everyone else is playing different games or something. I can never get a bloody 4th. But I've played all the other maps and they're really fun. They do their best to try and procedurally generate it. When I mean this, I mean change closet positions and ghost locations. So they changed the location where the ghost could be at, and they changed the positionings of the closets. So every experience is kind of different, and you have to try and figure out different escape routes. I think that's the intention. I'll basically explain what the hunt is now. So a hunt is where all 4 of you, or just like 2 or 3 of you, are inside the house. You're trying to get something from the ghost, and your sanity, which is a meter outside in the van, that essentially the lower it is, the higher chance you have of getting attacked. And when you get to that certain point where if you say something or you get really low sanity, your lights and stuff start to flicker, and the hunt begins. And basically, the ghost will try to kill somebody. And if you die, whatever items you bring in, you lose them all. So you got to be careful. And that's why I'm going to reiterate back to the closet, because you use the closet to try and hide, and rooms as well to try and hide from the ghost, so he can't attack you and you can stay alive for longer to try and get more evidence to figure out who the ghost is. It's got really good replayability. I think those 2 things alone make the game fun enough. It's really good, and you always get a different experience. Speaking of replayability, let's talk about ghosts. Now, there's 10 different ghosts you can hunt, and each of them have their own pieces of evidence that you have to gather. And that's the big part of what makes this game really fun, is that every game that you get into, no matter what map you're in, you always get to find a different ghost. Or you either get the same ghost 3 times like I have before, or you get 3 completely different ghosts that just changes the way the gameplay works. So to find, different pieces of evidence. So one example of a ghost that I can think of is the mayor, and essentially the mayor can attack. He likes to be in the dark. He or she likes to be in the dark. So they'll only attack when it's really dark and there's no lights on. And the way to counter him is to turn lights on around the house, and always check the breaker, which spawns in at random locations. But the breaker is essentially what controls the power around the house. And if they turn that off, chances are you may have a mare in your hands. Another ghost that I can think of is the Oni, which he's actually not that hard to encounter. But the crazy part with the Oni is that the Oni will attack more often. Or not really more often, but they get pretty violent and crazy, and they'll try to be more aggressive towards you. So the way to weaken them is to try to get multiple people together, and so that he can identify himself, and it kind of weakens him. This is kind of like a single-ish target kind of ghost. There's actually another ghost that's a single target, which is a Banshee. But yeah, Onis are very, very aggressive. Now, if you want to check the pieces of evidence for each ghost, you can go into your journal. I'm currently in another room, so I can't really remember the pieces of evidence off the top of my head. But you have a journal in each game that you can check all the time to constantly to track your evidence, and you get to see all the different ghosts. So you can see what pieces of evidence are required, what each ghost does, and you can try and figure out the ghost from there. Now, there's also difficulty levels in this game, surprisingly. I actually did not expect them to have difficulty levels, but there are. So the first difficulty is amateur, so they're very, very easy jobs. You get a preparation time of 5 minutes before the ghost starts making some noise. Usually the ghost will tend to make some activity throughout the timing, or like the non-sanity phase. But if you don't, you'll have to wait until then to try and get something to happen. but the ghosts will not start attacking you until that timer goes down. And then there's intermediate, which is a 2-minute preparation timer from the moment you go inside the building. But and the hunts last a bit longer, and the ghosts the ghosts will tend to respond more often and like make some noise. And professional is the last difficulty, where there's no preparation timer, so as soon as you're in, and your sanity will go down fast. I mean, really fast. And the hunts last for so long, you could be in a bathroom in high school for like a minute, and the hunt won't even be over. That's how long it goes for. I'm not even capping. One thing that I wanted to show as like a little snippet of my next video is that Phasmophobia is a hell of a fun game to play when you play with randoms. And I've been playing with randoms, aside from playing with my friends, to try and see if I can get some funny moments. And I caught a clip of the scenario where we're at the farmhouse, we're trying to call out his name and try to get some information, but he just wasn't doing anything. So two of us were like walking out. I was heading towards the living room, or like the kitchen area where the or not the kitchen area, the living room and the front door where the ghost was, and he just appears out of nowhere and just sits there. You have to listen to this. Just watch this. Watch this. He left in a hurry somewhere.
Okay, interesting.
I heard footsteps downstairs.
Or is that like a storage room?
Sink. I hear a sink in the kitchen. EMF 4.
Oh wait, he's hunting. I hear
Oh!
he's hunting.
Oh my god!
He's hunting. Oh, he's right there.
Take a photo. Take a photo. Take a photo.
Sick.
What the hell? He's not even
Yo.
moving. What the fuck?
Oh, dude, I heard my.
The fact that there's like, imagine if there wasn't proximity chat in this game and it was just like a normal microphone chat, like you see, like your typical voice chat. It wouldn't have sounded as immersive and funny as it did with the proximity chat that we got from this game. It was freaking hilarious. And he just stood there for like 10 seconds, 5 seconds, and 5 to 10 seconds, sorry. And then we were just like, what the hell was going on? We didn't know what was going on. And this is when I have clocked a decent amount of time in the game, and the guys that I was playing with were brand new players. So I was teaching them and helping them out to, you know, figure out the ghost and get used to the gameplay loop. And it was a really good time. Those guys are really, really cool. Now, as much as I have a lot of positive things to say about this amazing game, there are a couple of things that I think the game needs to thrive. And the first thing I want to mention is content. Now, content is a very big deal for early access games or Twitch surprise hits like Phasmophobia, because a lot of people are only streaming it due to the fact that it's co-op, you can play with friends, you can play in VR as well, so there's VR crossplay between non-VR and VR, which is freaking awesome. But give it a week or two, and I think the game will start to dip soon. It'll dip pretty heavily if there's no content or nothing happening. Now, as far as I know, I'm on the Discord. I'm on the Phasmophobia Discord, and I think it's safe to say that there's only one, if not two, developers that are working on this game. And I saw a Steam review of a guy saying, "Dev, please hire a team for this game because it needs content to survive." And I agree with his review. I think that this game, if it doesn't get enough content anytime soon or enough patches and fixes, then it's just gonna drop really, really fast. And even if it does drop to 4,000 players and it got a huge content update, I reckon it will spike back up because a lot of Twitch streamers, popular Twitch streamers, are getting a hold of this game. So it'll be up to them pretty much to try and popularize the game once again if it was to dip after a certain amount of time. So I think, but on the Trello website, on the development state, they did say that they were planning to do more fixes and 2 new maps, which is a prison and a hospital. So that's really nice. I'm pretty excited for that. I don't know when that's going to come. I feel like it's going to be a bit later due to the fact that it's only essentially 2 people working on this game, which is crazy to me. I just cannot believe it, because he put a lot of effort to make this game work, and it works really well. It has so much potential to survive for a very long time. It just needs content. Now, the second thing I want to mention is the bugs and glitches. Like, now, I've encountered a couple of these bugs personally, from glitched out photos to sanities dropping really fast to having ghost games where the ghost doesn't even make any sounds or activity for like 20 minutes. Like, I had a 30-minute game with 2 buddies at high school, didn't get any single piece of activity. Didn't get one activity to happen at all. We couldn't get any evidence, so we had to we kind of had to do a guessing game, and we got it wrong. It turned out to be a djinn for some reason, but that's not the point. The point is that the bugs is what's causing the game to be a bit buggy and maybe cause some issues for a lot of people. But you got to give it some props because it is an early access game after all, and it's well developed for the build that it's currently at. So give it some time. I reckon he'll patch out the bugs and fixes for sure. The last thing I want to touch on is the servers. Now, the servers have been pretty buggy since its launch, and I've had games where we've had 4 people in, we get people to connect, we jump into a game, it takes like 10 years for one person to load it. I'm not sure if that's due to HDD or SSD load-in times, but we get into a game, we all jump in, and then suddenly one guy just randomly disconnects. I don't know, I feel like most of the time they just leave, but it could actually be servers. I've had people tell me that the servers have caused them to crash and time out from a game. Like, they keep their items, at least there's a compensation where you keep all your items if you do crash from a game. So that's really good. I'm glad that they did that, because if they didn't and people kept crashing after putting hundreds of dollars of items in, then that's just really tilting, you know. But I'm glad that it keeps the items in that game that you were in, but you keep your money and your items, so you don't lose anything. And it just helps the 3 other players, or 2 other players should another person DC, just continue the run and keep it going. But I saw in the subreddit and also in the Discord that there's a new update rolling out in a couple of days that should address the server issues and upgrading it to a new code. So hopefully there'll be less disconnects and less crashes. Overall, I think this game is great, man. It's a great horror game with huge potential. I have to stress this, huge, because all it needs is better servers, a bit more content, and I think this game will thrive for a very, very long time. Like I said, if we don't get anything in the next week or 2 weeks, this game is going to die fast. Oh, and also I want to mention that this game is also good for people who haven't played horror games. Like this, you could say that this game is really scary, but it's actually not as scary as you think. There are way more scary games out there, like Amnesia, Penumbra, Outlast, Alien Isolation. Those games are way more scary, have a way scarier atmosphere than Phasmophobia. Phasmophobia is like a rookie's horror game. If you really take a look at other horror games out there that have really done a lot, even the Resident Evil games, the original Resident Evil games, I think are a lot more scarier than Phasmophobia, in my opinion. So if you're looking to get into the horror genre and want a game to play, Phasmophobia, this is the game you jump into, 100%. It's really easy. It's really fun. You can get some good jump scares out of it. You can scare your friends as well, and it's just good to get into the scene, really. Shit, I almost forgot to mention the price. Now, the price is 19.99 AUD, which is actually a pretty good price given its current content. So I would recommend buying it at its current price. If you want to wait a month or maybe a couple more weeks to see if the game continues to thrive after, then you can wait until then. But I would, if you want to get some content, if you want to have some fun, if you want to get a nice little scare for yourself, play it at nighttime, whatever works, I would recommend buying it right now and playing while you can to try and get some good little scares, and also play with randoms. I definitely recommend playing with randoms. It's really fun playing with random guys, especially when everyone's got microphones and everyone's just talking. It's great. Anyways, guys, that's it for the video. If you enjoyed, like the video. If I missed anything, comment down below, subscribe for more, and don't forget to hit that bell notification so you'll be notified when I upload a new video. Peace.